Happy Monday, FLOSSTUBE. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing today? My name's Caroline. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here to do a FLOSSTUBE video update today. It's been a little while since my last video. I think it's been about 3.5 weeks. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been a little difficult to turn the camera back on and get this started. And I've had several false starts already this evening because there's been a lot going on in Canada and London, especially over the last week, but you know, throughout Canada, it's been really sad and really quite a difficult time for so many in our Indigenous community, our Muslim community, and it's been very difficult to think of how to word your support and your sorrow at the same time. So I thought let's just start the camera rolling and talk about what things I can do, which would be some charitable giving that I've done this month that I wanted to first of all update you on. Since last year, through my shop, through Evertote, any bag with a Canadian theme, I have donated $5 of each purchased bag to the Native Women's Association of Canada. And so I made the last donation, I think it was the beginning of last week. I had sold 25 bags since the last time I made the donation back in March. So $5 from each of those 25 sets that were sold of the maple leaf bags. I put that towards a donation to the Native Women's Association of Canada, but I bumped that number up to $215. And that donation I made last week. I think I posted about it on Instagram last week, and the transaction ID number is on there. I like to be transparent about that because I do advertise that a portion of those sales go to that particular group. And the other donation that I made last week in honor of Pride Month was a $100 donation to the Rainbow Health of Ontario. And also I should let you know that Leo&Roxy Yarn Co. also matched my donation of $100 from their business towards Rainbow Health Ontario. I'll leave links in the drop-down box below in case you're interested in more information on these two particular organizations. And thank you again for, you know, showing your support that way through the shop. That allows me then to make these donations. Okay, so let's get to some crafting. Let's get to some crafting. Luna is here with me. As you can see, I'm at home. It is late on Monday evening. It is already 8:30 p.m. in the evening, and I have brought all of my stuff back home with me tonight to share with you. I tried to record at 5:30 at the end of the day today, but the people next door to where the workshop is decided right at that particular moment to mow the lawn. And we are without air conditioning right at the moment at the workshop, and so I've got all the windows open, I've got fans going, and the fans combined with the air conditioning, I thought, oh, this is hopeless. You wouldn't be able to hear anything. So I packed everything up and I came home, and we've had dinner. I've had dinner with the family. John made us delicious barbecue hamburgers for dinner, and he even made caramelized onions to go on the burgers. They were fantastic. I'm not getting up to the cottage. I think I've been up one weekend already this summer. So that's one of my favorite things to do at the cottage. It's not one of my favorite things to do. I love to eat, clearly. But barbecue is something usually that we save for summertime at the cottage. And so I did request, I was missing the sort of luxury of having a barbecue dinner. So he made hamburgers for dinner, which was really nice to come home to. So we've eaten, and thought I would steal away upstairs for a few minutes and have a visit with you because it's been a while. So I've got Luna in the room here with me. She's currently staring at me. It's been a while, I think, since she's sat beside me while I recorded a video. So, okay, so I've brought everything home to share with you today that I had packed up this morning to take to share with you at the office. So it was quite funny packing it all back up again and bringing it home. So let's see. Something very special to start. Oh, wait, can you see? Oh, let's start with it. You can see it, right? I have a finish. Believe it or not, I have a finish. I finished my socks. Look, a pair, 2 of them. It only took me a year. These were a new start. I started these socks at the beginning of lockdown, pandemic, March 2020, as a self-care new start. Pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure. I'll have to look back on my Instagram feed to double check that. But this is a Leo&Roxy Yarn Co. Sock of the Month Club. August 2019. I belonged to a 6-month club, I think, at the time, and this was the August colorway. And it has a really, really pretty gray mini skein that came with it that I used for the heel and toe. I use a super simple sock pattern from my friend Louise Patterson of Wildflower Wool. You can find her pattern on Ravelry. Super simple cuff down sock. It's a plain vanilla sock. It's the one I gravitate towards always because I'm really confident with it, comfortable with knitting it. I do have a learn to knit tutorial series of videos on this channel, and it does actually go all the way down to socks. So if you're so inclined and you'd like to learn how to knit socks, if you'd like to learn how to knit, period, let me tell you, I'll sign you up. Knitting is really, it's such a pleasure. So I have a finished pair of socks. I have been working on Sarah's Afghan. But you know what? I'm into this video already and the Afghan's in the other room, and I am not pausing this video to go and grab it. So you're going to have to take my word for it that I have knit about 2 inches of that Afghan since the last time I showed it to you, which was a long time ago. So 2 inches isn't very much, but each row is really long, and it's full of cables. It's beautiful. So maybe if when I'm editing, I'll try to pop in a photo of the cable detail on it. It is a pattern by Brooklyn Tweed. It is called the Talon Throw, and that's Talon. And I'm using a superwash wool by Barocco. It's Barocco Vintage. It's a superwash. I think it's an acrylic wool blend. Very easy care. So it's for Sarah. My goal is to have it done when she's finished university. So as she says, tick tock, Mom, you've got 2 years to go. So I can do it. I'm sure I can do it. I could totally do it. It's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. It's really fun to knit, but it's one that you have to, it's so funny, right? If you're in London, Ontario, last week was so hot. It was like the surface of the sun hot. And who decides that's the perfect time to be working on an Afghan? That would be me. I do it every year. I do it every year. Seems like as soon as it gets really hot outside, what do I want to knit? Huge Afghan. But I mean, I have air conditioning at home, so it's not like it's 40 degrees inside my house. It's cool, so it doesn't. Anyways, I'll try to pop a photo in of it because it's a lovely knit. I don't even think there's no cut. It's gray, Barocco Vintage. Great yarn. Really enjoying that knit. Okay, I meant to do this first, but because I had the socks waiting there, and then I got excited when I saw the socks that I wanted to share my finish with you. I'm going to backtrack to what I normally would like to do first on a Monday, which is talk about the giveaway. I have a giveaway from the last video that I did where I was sharing a chart that was sent to me from Deborah. And Deborah had sent me a copy of a chart that I already have, and it's so pretty, and I knew that Deborah wouldn't mind if I sent it out as a giveaway out into the world. So it was the Cottage Garden Samplings with an S. The Songbirds Garden Series number 5, which is the Bluebird of Happiness, Eastern Bluebirds and Cherry Blossoms. It's such a beautiful chart. I've got my big light on, so I'm sure you're seeing reflection in my glasses, and hopefully there might be a bit of a glare on the chart. Let's see if we can get that to focus. Was that the glare? There we go. Really sweet chart. So I pulled a name over on the Facebook group, and it was Christine Turen who won. I hope I've got your name right. I wrote it down downstairs, but oh wait, I brought my book upstairs. Look at how organized I am. I wrote it down. Let's double check that name. Christine Turen, T-U-R-E-N-N-E, and I did leave you a message on your Facebook message on that posting, and so if you could please email me your mailing address to caroline@evertote.com. I'll get that out to you. I am behind in sending out giveaways. I apologize. When I made the move, as you can see, yeah, I made the move, but half my stuff is still here because I never actually really took any time off when I made the move. I was working, so I kind of moved everything over really fast that I needed immediately, and everything that I didn't need immediately stayed here. So my sweet daughter, Sarah, has been starting to pack up this space for me, and the goal is that we're going to take everything remaining over this weekend. There's still a lot of stuff in here. But it needs to get moved over there so that I can sort through what's still here, and it needs to go so that I can organize it over there. So anyways, that was a long-winded way of saying I'm a little bit behind in giveaways because some of the giveaway charts got left in a drawer here in one of my little cabinets and out of my memory, and so it's now on my radar to get into those and make sure that they get out in the mail. And I do apologize. It's not like I do these giveaways and purposely not send them out. I really do want to give them away. So you should see the stack of charts that I have for giveaway. I mean, it's really quite fun, but I need to get them out in the mail. So apologies for the delay. But I have something new to offer up for today. I was cleaning out my cabinet that is beside my stitching chair in my bedroom, and I came across something that I've mentioned on my channel a few months back. I don't even remember when, but I mentioned I should keep my I made a list today. I made another list, so I better keep it handy. I talked about a pillow that I had made as a class, part of a class for one of my small retreats that I went on many years back, where I learned Swedish embroidery, or huck embroidery, huck weaving, and made this really beautiful huck embroidered pillow, and I shared it on the channel. It's stuffed away over in the guest room at the moment, but I found this kit that I had purchased at the same time that I made that pillow. I'm gonna say this was maybe 8 years ago, 10 years ago, I'm not quite sure. But I have this beautiful, fully kitted Hardanger, that's not Hardanger, excuse me, it's Huck pillow kit. I have never touched it. I have never touched it, and I'll tell you why. The fabric is dark, and I have pets, and every time I look at this, I'm like, if you make that, it's going to be covered in white dog hair all the time. And so it has stayed beautifully packaged in its packaging. I haven't touched it. I haven't done anything with it. And it's time that this goes out into the world so that somebody can make it and have it, because it's beautiful. So this is a fully kitted Swedish Weave Designs by Catherine Kennedy, Stargazer Lily, from my very, very own stash. And I love it, love it, love it. And I hope that whoever wins it loves it and makes it and sends me a picture. It's really beautiful. So here it is. Isn't it pretty? It's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Let me bring it up close so you can see it. I love it. I really love it. I wish it wasn't on a dark fabric like that as a pillow. I mean, I guess I could, technically I could stitch it and frame it, but I think it really wants to be a pillow. It's so pretty. So look, there's the fabric. It's so nice and dark, and there's the floss. It's pearl cotton. Everything should be in there that's needed for the design. It's so pretty. Anyway, I'm gonna send this out in the world so that someone else can actually make it and love it. So if you would like a chance to win this, I'll send it anywhere in the world. I do these giveaways for my channel. I do over on my Facebook group, which is called Friday Off the Grid. I'll pop a photo up there probably before this video goes. I said happy Monday. By the time this video is actually live on YouTube, it's probably going to be Tuesday for most of you. It's probably going to be almost Tuesday for me as well. So happy Tuesday. But this picture, I'll probably put it up before the video is live over on the Facebook group, Friday Off the Grid. And I hope that I hope this goes to a really good home, someone who loves it. And I can't wait to see it stitched up. It's so pretty. Anyways, I know trust me, I'm second guessing myself, but I'm not going to. This needs to be stitched. It needs to be loved. And if you've seen Luna, and Luna is shedding right now, let me tell you, she is shedding lots of little white hairs. I thought having a golden retriever was bad for hair. Luna's hair is little, but it works its way into things like pillow cushions and things like that. And it's I was driving John's little car last week. He keeps his car fairly clean, and because I'm usually the one driving around the dog, my vehicle isn't quite as tidy. There's a little bit more dog hair in the car that I drive, but his car is usually nice and very clean. But I had the dog crate in it last week because he was up north with Nicholas last week, and I was here in London with Sarah and the dog. And so he'd moved the dog crate over to his car so that I could ferry Luna back and forth. But the air conditioning wasn't working in his car either. So I had to have the windows open every time I would drive to work and home again. And of course, with the windows down and Luna's in the car and the hair is just going like this. I felt really bad because when I got home the one day, there was a little film of white Luna hair all over the dashboard. And I thought, oh dear, he's not going to be pleased. But what can you do? I mean, what can you do, right? Everybody, there's that expression I've seen on shirts before. Shed happens. Yes, it certainly does. And she is shedding at the moment. But anyways, please, someone take this and love it. All right, I'll post it on the Facebook group. Okay, let's get to my whips, what I've been working on. I have done some stitching. So the first thing I will show you is Nevermore. Because I finished, I'm just gonna keep these things, I'll show you those after. So I finished Nevermore. This is a Lila Studio design that I'm doing. I'm kind of doing a conversion as I go. So I'm not doing any of the called for colors, and I'm kind of playing with color as I go. So I don't have a preconceived idea of all of the colors that I'm going to do. But I did have, I had a comment from Mary. I think, on my last video, and she was asking about Nevermore, and she wanted me to share the colors that I'm using so far, and she wanted me to go a little more slowly so that she could take note of it. And I appreciate you asking me that, because sometimes I do speak a little fast, and I don't know, sometimes I do gloss over things a little too quickly. So thank you for asking, Mary. Okay, so my fabric, first of all, that I'm using is a 40 count linen from local Ontario dyer, hand dyed by Rolanda, and this is a 40 count in the Ecru colorway. Yeah, and again, I've got artificial lighting, so you're gonna miss a lot of that really beautiful light hand dyed look that's on the fabric, but it's really pretty, beautiful linen. So it's a 40 count, so I'm using 1 thread over 2. And what that means, if you're new to stitching and you hear, what does 1 over 1 or what is 1 over 2, what does that mean? Basically, when you're stitching on linen, think about, if you're familiar with Aida, you really see the box very easily that you have to make your X on. But if you're stitching on linen, it's a lot more difficult to see. So the way that I usually think about it, or if I'm teaching someone how to stitch on linen, I tell them to think of a tic-tac-toe board. So instead of having 4 corners, you have 9 holes in your square, and you're going to use the outside corners of the tic-tac-toe square board as to make your X. So that's all that means. Let me just pause for a minute for the sirens. Hang on. We back onto a very busy road here in London, and so it's a main thoroughfare for emergency vehicles. So where was I? Oh right, so when you hear someone say 1 over 2 or 2 over 2, what that's talking about is number of threads of floss that you are using over how many threads of linen. So because a tic-tac-toe board would have 2 strands, 2 threads in the weave and the weft of the fabric, you would take your 2 strands of floss and you would go over 2 threads of the linen fabric. So two threads of floss, 2 threads of fabric square, where 1 over 2 would be 1 thread of floss over 2 threads of your fabric. Now 1 over 1 means that you do 1 strand of floss over 1 fabric thread on your fabric. I hope that makes sense. So I am stitching this 1 thread over 2 on this 40 count. And again, this is Nevermore by Lila Studios. I'll try to pop in a screenshot of her pattern, because I don't have the cover photo with me here today. And it's the one with the Poe quote on it. It's a fantastic design. I love it. And so I'm using Leo&Roxy threads. I completely finished the bottom border entirely. So my very bottom row, the outline of the border here, I'm using the color Vampish. Inside the border, the curly Q bits, I used Morticia. Now Morticia is a funny floss. It's not funny, haha, but it's one of those really special hand-dyed flosses that Carrie did. And of course, each hank of Morticia is unique. So depending on which dye lot you get your Morticia from, you might have a little bit more gray, you might have a little bit more purple, you might have a little bit more dark gray or dark purple. It's really one of those fun flosses. So you can see that entire bottom border, that is a really beautiful variegated floss. So that's called Morticia. And then that line, that top border line matches the bottom border line. That's Vampish there, which I also used Vampish in this triangle section here and those individual stitches in the border. That again is Vampish right there. And then over here, that reddish wine color is Vixen. And so Vixen is coloring in all of the motifs that are going to fill in those triangles. So that's going to be Vixen all the way along there. This is another row here of Vampish right there. And then while I'm on Vampish, this motif that's up here on the left side, that's going to be entirely Vampish as well. And then these triangles are outlined with Vampish, but I'm filling them in with a color called Plum Shadow. Now at the moment, Plum Shadow as an individual color is out of stock, but Carrie is dyeing some more. I think she was dyeing some more today. I should have some more by the end of the week. We're using it in the Modern Folk Embroidery Rule of Life that we're starting this Friday. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute, but that's Plum Shadow. And I'm using that in the triangle. I really hemmed and hawed over those triangles. I had a hard time picking the color, but I think I'm happy with the Plum Shadow. I think it looks nice there. Yeah, so that's Nevermore by Lila Studios. I said it wrong for so long. I'm so glad that Abby Bella corrected us all and told us how to pronounce her name properly. Lila instead of, it's not Lila. I've been saying Lila Studios for years, but it's Lila Studio. And it's just such a fantastic chart. I love that design. Really, really pretty. Okay, next up, I pulled out an oldie. This one's been on my mind. And it had been since last year that I'd worked on it. So these projects seem to be cyclical with me. It's probably because I have memories attached to these things, right? Like I start working on Sarah's Afghan, which reminded me of the last time I really worked on Sarah's Afghan, which was last summer, which was the last time that I really worked on this next project, which is Frederika by Carriage House Samplings. So that is, I'm in my squeaky chair, so excuse me, it's my chair. This is Frederika, Big Bird Frederika, and I love this chart. I also have the mate, I have Frederick, but I decided to start with the ladybird first. So I don't even know when I started this, years ago, and it's not overly big. I don't know. It's, again, I stitch what I want when I want. And right now I wanted to stitch Frederika. So that's what I'm doing. So there, again, look at that beautiful chart. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Carriage House Samplings. And here's, actually, I'll pop in a photo. I'll pop in a photo now while I'm talking. Sorry, my eye is watering a bit. I think it's the pollen. A lot of pollen lately, and I think it's a little bit of an allergic reaction that I'm having. I'm not crying, I promise. It's just this little bit of watering eye. Frederika, I'll pop in a photo of where it was when I started back working on it a couple of days ago. I even still have my needle stuck in the bottom of it because I was excited to thread my needle, but I didn't actually finish the stitches last night. So here's where I'm at now. There we go. I completed the border over the weekend. Well, the diamonds. I completed the border. I completed the diamonds in the border over the weekend. And then I put some more work into that big tail, the tail feathers. And actually you can't really see it because it's so, the color. But I filled in a lot of the border around the diamonds. It's washing out completely, I know, but a lot of this fill-in is done down there. Mindless, happy stitching. It really was. And so I did some work on the tail feathers there. I actually made a big goof on this pattern, and I'm going to point it out because now I don't actually think of it as a goof. I'm really glad that I made this mistake because let me show you the chart. Look at the bottom border on the chart. Can you see how the top of the diamonds have been cut off to make the border here in the bottom? it doesn't match the top row of diamonds, does it? The bottom row, the top of the diamond has been cut off to make the ground. Well, I was happily stitching the border last summer and didn't check the chart at all and automatically just assumed that it was the same. And so I did my border. And by the time I realized, I think I had done the black thread. I had done the diamonds and I had done the black thread of the border. And then I started to do the fill-in. And then I can't remember how I figured it out, but I'm like, oh, oops. And so what I did was the border on the chart has 2 rows of that yellow, black, yellow, black. I just took out a row and made it 1 row instead of 2. So happy accident, because actually it would have bothered me that the top of those diamonds were interrupted by the border. So if I had, like, I'm sure I would have noticed it, and it kind of would have been like, why aren't those diamonds finished? I wish those diamonds were finished. Well, now they are. So happy accident. So yeah, it's so pretty. Oh, and I did that little heart motif as well. That's brand new. That's brand new. Might as well show it off. Cute, cute, cute. So I am stitching this on a 28 count Picture This Plus fabric in the Dubloon colorway, and I am using the called for DMC threads, and they are beautiful. The DMC color palette for this chart is really, really pretty. Really pretty. I wouldn't convert it. I love it. I think the palette is really beautiful. So I know I had someone comment on my Instagram post a couple days ago that they were wondering which threads to use. I've been really happy with the DMC list in this chart. I think it's gorgeous. Yeah, so Frederika. It's been really nice to stitch that again. And this is a Picture This Plus even weave, and it's quite nice. It's a nice fabric. It's been nice to work on. Luna is quite antsy. I'm not quite sure what's what, but I might have to pause in a minute and see what she wants. I think she wants her bed. She wants me to drag her bed in here so that she can lie down, and I think that's what she wants, but we'll let her go a little bit longer. Okay, Frederika. Okay, so that's really all I worked on over the last couple of weeks of personal progress to share with you. So the rest of what I have to share with you today is mostly things that are happening in the shop. I've got a couple of stitch alongs starting soon, one this Friday and one next Friday, but they are related to things that I sell in my shop. So if you're not interested in that, my personal crafting is now, that's done. So I'm going to start talking about things that are new that I'm starting. So still crafting. Everything is interrelated kind of with me because I do sell the Leo&Roxy floss, so I stitch with it. I'm also selling a number of Jacob Modern Folk Embroidery's charts lately, so I am stitching a lot of those as well. But I do recognize that people are trying to watch their wallets. So if you're not interested in being tempted, then now's the time to say goodbye, and I'll see you in the next FLOSSTUBE update. For those who would like to stick around, I'm going to tell you first about a stitch along that I am starting on this coming Friday. So that is going to be June 18th. And June 18th, it's also, guess what? I managed to get an appointment for my second vaccine. My second vaccine is going to be June 18th. So this Friday, I'm going to be getting my second dose of the vaccine. I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited. Nicholas had his first vaccine on Sunday, so our entire family is now first dose done. So we're kind of looking forward to the future. So okay, so stitch along this Friday is going to be I know I brought the chart. It is the Modern Folk Embroidery Rule of Life. And this is the chart. You know what? I left Ellen's model at the shop. I'm probably going to put up a short video on Friday, probably on Friday morning, to celebrate the beginning of the stitch along. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that I share her stitch piece again in all its glory. It is phenomenal. So this is the Rule of Life. This is the chart. It is by Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery. I am now all sold out of the physical charts. If you would like to join in this stitch along, you can always find a copy of the PDF version of this chart over on Jacob's website, www.modernfolkembroidery.com, and you can join us in stitching this piece. So bestow your alms whenever you see an object in necessity. So it uses the old-fashioned German style of S that looks like an F. So it is bestow your alms. It's not bestow your alms. It's an F. Oh, my battery, the camera, I don't know. I need a new memory card or something. It fills up and then it clicks off and I'm mid-sentence, and then it's a fun editing job later on, but I don't have time to order a new memory card. So, and I always forget. So every time I record a video, I'm like, right, I forgot about that. Somewhere in my mind, there's a to-do list that isn't getting written down. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This Friday, we are starting the Rule of Life. So to that end, I still have a couple of sets of floss in the shop. If you would like to stitch this with the called for colors, Jacob had designed this with the 3 colors in mind. I've got my floss here. Vampish, Plum Shadow, that we were, remember I told you Plum Shadow is, mine are all kind of end of Hank cards, so mine are sample cards, so they don't look as nice as the new cards, but you can still see the colors here. This is Vampish, Plum Shadow in the middle, and Caramel. You know what I'll do? I'll pop up a photo of the actual listing. Such pretty colors. So it's and I am stitching this on, so remember I showed you the fabric I was going to stitch Spring Quakers on? I'm not sure this is wide enough. I have to double check, but I might put, I'm not sure this is actually wide enough. I have to redo my math. I have to do my calculations. But I was going to do my Rule of Life on this fabric, but now I'm thinking it's not wide enough. I have to double check that. Anyways, stitch along starts this Friday. If you're joining in, please use the hashtag MFE Rule of Life. And that way we can all share together our progress. I hope to have regular updates working together with you throughout this stitch along and the stitch along that's starting next week, Spring Quakers, because I think that's going to really help me to stay focused and actually complete these stitch alongs, because you know I recognize that I'm also in a few other stitch alongs, and as of yet my track record with me, it's usually a start along, a Caroline start along, because is she going to finish it? Is she not? That's always the question, isn't it? But I would really like to, you know, finish some of these things. So I had Hannah who, let me tell you, because we're talking about the shop now, I can talk about the shop and what's going on at the shop. I have 3, oops, drop my chart here, hang on a second. I have 3 new employees at the shop. Hannah, Matt, and Arzu. And I taught them how to cross stitch last Friday. I'll pop in a photo so that you can see. Boy, was that fun. They were such good sports about it too, because I said, you know, Friday afternoon we're going to take an hour and we're going to learn how to cross stitch. And they were very good sports. So Hannah has sort of taken on a lot of the admin stuff at the shop. She is also a super speedy order packer. So Hannah has taken on the job of packaging. The last few weeks, it's been 100% of the orders have been packed up by Hannah, and taking care of all of the shipping, taking care of organizing inventory and stock on the Leo&Roxy floss, knowing what we have, knowing what we need, getting it wound, all that kind of good stuff. Carding the floss takes a really long time, so it's it all has to be done by hand, right? And there's a lot of floss. There's a lot of floss, so it all gets wound by hand. Arzu does a lot of the sewing prep work that needs to be done. So she's pretty much taken over making grime guards, piecing together the bags, top stitching the outside pieces of the bags, you know, sort of prepping that work for me, which has been a really, really big help. And Matt has taken on a lot of the cut work, a lot of the cutting of the back, cutting of the fabric. So there's been a lot of I said this to them. I was talking to John the other day, and I said, you know, if I'd been using my head, I wouldn't have had them all start at the same time. I should have staggered their coming on board a little bit more, because trying to train 3 people at the same time to do what you do, and there's only one of you, and you know, each one is kind of taking on a slightly different role of what I do and helping me, and trying to do that with 3 different people kind of all at the same time. For someone who is an extroverted introvert, it was a lot of talking. It was a lot of talking all day long, and I found that I was very tired when I got home at work. But they are wonderful. They are wonderful. I feel incredibly lucky to have found the 3 people that have joined me over at Evertote, and it's a really nice atmosphere. It feels like a great team, really good teamwork. So it's been really nice. So Hannah actually has packaged up the last of I was running quite low on Plum Shadow. So Hannah went ahead today and pre-packaged up some sets that are ready to go out the door, so we can have them out the door tomorrow or the next day for the Rule of Life. So there's a set of 9, which you'll need if you want to stitch on 28 count or 32 count. If you want to do 2 over 2. If you want to do 1 over 2, then the set of 5 is sufficient floss for what you'll need. So the set of 5 is 3 skeins of Vampish, 1 skein of Plum Shadow, 1 skein of Caramel. The set of 9 is 6 skeins of Vampish, 2 Plum Shadow, and 1 Caramel. And so yeah, this is starting on Friday. I'll pop up a short little video on Friday to celebrate us starting this. That'll be fun. Okay, so that's this Friday's big special. I have to double check my fabric, because I don't know what I was thinking. I don't think that's nearly wide enough, because it's 28 count. I really want to do 2 over 2. I want this to be a bigger piece. So, and Ellen did 36 count, and hers was quite big on 36 count. So yeah, I don't think that fabric is wide enough. I'm gonna have to search the stash again for another piece. Okay, other than that, next week's new start is the Rosewood Manor Spring Quakers Stitch Along. This is a chart that I have been wanting to stitch for years, and this was an idea from Libby of CheekyMare. You can find her on YouTube. I will link to her channel below. This was completely her idea. I could totally blame her. She said, do you think that these colors, the sampler pack of Leo&Roxy, do you think that would look good as a conversion for the Spring Quakers? And I said, why, yes, I do. And most of the colors in there, and then we added in a few others and a couple extras that were new. And so I've done a conversion, but it hasn't been stitched, and we're going to stitch this together as a stitch along. This is also the floss conversion is being sold in the shop, which is www.evertote.com. It's a 14 skein set. There are 12 unique colors, and 2 of the greens, you need 2 skeins. The medium green, the sage and dark sage, you need 2 skeins of each. So 2 skeins of each of those. So Miss Luna here is whining at me. So I'm gonna just pause this video and see if I can get Nicholas to take her outside. Stand by. Okay. Yeah, she's such a good dog. When I mean she's whining, I mean she's very quiet. She has this really subtle kind of undertone. She just stares at you, and it's this really low kind of whine, like, but it's really super quiet. You can hardly hear it. But because she's staring you in the face, she's hard to ignore. Anyways, yes, so 14 skein conversion set. And so like I said, this has not been stitched before. I've chosen the colors based on, you know, looking at the chart, and Libby's ideas in the beginning of what she thought, you know, would be an appropriate match. And I think this is going to be really fun. So there was some fabric that I sold from Carrie of Leo&Roxy. She had dyed some linen, and that is now, that initial batch of linen is now gone. That was also an introductory price on that linen. That was kind of a sort of first dye lot special pricing. The linen that is going to be sold through the shop will be at regular pricing the next time that I'm listing fabric, because I do have more fabric coming. I actually have some 46 count that I will be listing soon. I need to figure out how best to take photos of it and show you. So it might actually be easier if I just did another video entirely on that. So yeah, spring Quakers. So more about this next week. Those of you who have purchased it already and you have it in your hot little hands and you're waiting to start, we will be talking about the thread conversion, because I did not send a list out with your purchase. So we'll be talking about what colors are going to be going where. What I'd like to do, so this is starting next Friday, which is June 25th. I would like to have it kind of mapped out and maybe do a small section every month, so that we divide it into, I don't know, knowing me, it's going to be a smaller section so that I can actually complete it each month. And there are no rules. If you're doing a start along with Caroline, stitch along with Caroline, there are no rules. So if you're finished it in a month, more power to you. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Such a beautiful chart. I know that if you're in Canada and you're looking for a copy of Spring Quakers, I know that Janice at Traditional Stitches was ordering some more copies in. So maybe check out her shop if you're looking for a copy. Yeah, such a great chart. So I'll have more information on this next week. Okay, I only have, let me check my list, because I think I only have one more thing to talk about, but if I don't check my list, then maybe I've missed something. And oh yeah, I totally I did miss some stuff. I have some new bags in the shop. For those of you who are fans of my sister-in-law, Kathy, if you've been with me for a really long time, you'll remember that I started the business Evertote with my sister-in-law, Kathy, way back in 2017. Early 2018, I took over the business by myself. Kathy has a full-time job. She at the time was a full-time music teacher in high school. She is still with the same board. She has a slightly different job at the moment, but she's a full-time job. So every once in a while, I get a shipment of very special, oversized wedge totes with straps. They are one of a kind. A couple of them are repeats of bags that she's done in the past, so 2 of a kind perhaps, or 3 of a kind. But of course the fabric placement is different. But last weekend I got a box of goodness from Kathy. They are all loaded into the shop. You can find them under their own collection heading, oversized wedge totes with handles, something like that. You'll see the box on the shop, and if you just click the button, it'll take you into the whole listing and you can see them all. They don't usually tend, once I tell people they're there, they don't tend to last too long because, well, they're really nice big bag with handles. So, you know, you're looking at like kind of like a retreat style bag where you pack all of your other whips and stuff into it. There is a pocket on the outside of the bag. There isn't one on the inside. There is one on the outside. It is made of twill, which is the same material that is used to make the handles. They're a nice sturdy bag, and there is also an O-ring sewn into the side for, you know, if you want to put stitch markers or even, you know, a key or something you want to hang off one of the O-rings. I've always found them a handy thing to have. So oversized bags with handles, those are in the shop. And I had a whole bunch of other things to tell you about the shop that I wasn't going to tell you about. The June bag of the month. So I have been kind of calling this June bag of the month club. It's not a club. If I say the word club, that's only because bag of the month seems to need the word club at the end of it. It is not a club. There is nothing to sign up for. If you purchase the June bag of the month, you are not required to purchase July bag of the month. It's a one-time thing. I hope to do it every month. I already have July bag of the month fabric chosen. More on that later in June. But I have only a limited number left of the June bag. So the way that I decided to do the bag of the month was to show the fabric that was going to be used for the bag of the month at the end of each month, list the listing, and then if you love the fabric and you would like to join the bag of the month, then you make the purchase at that point. So there's nothing to sign up for. There's no rules. There's no, you know, you don't have to sign up for 6 months or anything like that. It's just every month, if you love the fabric, you can purchase the bag. So this month, the bag that I offered in 3 sizes: the wedge tote, the medium wedge tote, the medium flat bag, and the large flat bag. And it comes with, so each bag of the month comes with 3 new unreleased Leo&Roxy floss colors, and they are a surprise. So you don't get to see what the floss is until you receive your package in the mail. And if you like the color of the bag, you will be very happy with the floss. I love June's colors. I love the bag. I love the floss. And I hope that if you've ordered it and you're receiving it, they should be starting to arrive in people's mailboxes. Well, now, I think they're arriving now. The first orders we sent out last week, and the last few orders that have been coming in, we've been sending them out pretty much every day. We've been able to send out a box. So I know they're arriving in people's mailboxes, and I hope you love them. So there are still a few left. I think we've cut up the rest of our inventory as of today and listed everything. I think I have 6 medium sets left, and I have 12 large flat, 12 large flat sets are left, 6 medium flats, and 2 wedge totes. And that's it. Then that main fabric is gone. I still have a little bit more of the accent fabric, but I'll use that. I'll make that into something else at a later date. But the main print with the bird, the entire bolt is now, that's gone. So once those bags are sold, I won't have any more. The other thing, of course, that we released in June were the new floss colors. And we put out a pride set. We put out all of the new floss colors. We made a rainbow. So these were all the new colors. And they are so beautiful. So I'm going to show you the rainbow picture that we used for the listing, and now I'm going to show you the individual colors. And I know it's nighttime, so a lot of these aren't going to show up as beautifully as they would in a natural daylight setting. But I'll just give you a quick rundown of these colors. Now, let's see, let's start with the first one is a darker version of Grassy. So Grassy was a color that was brought out in April in the Sampler Club. So if you had the sampler pack, you would have gotten Grassy in there. This is dark Grassy. So it's a darker version. There's those sirens again. Darker version of Grassy. And yes, we've got some rainbow tags. Aren't they fantastic? I think I'm just so thrilled with those tags. So there's dark Grassy. Then we have Weathered White. Weathered White has just the barest hint of gray. So it's a slight gray white. It's not a blue or yellow white. It's a very, very pale hint of gray. Weathered White. Then we have, now this is Wisteria Plus, and I suspect this is probably going to be a one-of-a-kind color. It is a mix between Wisteria and a little bit of Amethyst. If you remember, the original dye lot of Amethyst had that bright color in it. This Wisteria Plus has a little hint of that that Amethyst color in it. So it's not quite Wisteria, so that's why it's called Wisteria Plus. But it's just such a lovely, rich purple. Next we have Hickory. Really just this is going to be one of those kind of standard, you know, you use it for everything kind of browns. I need to get this to focus. Whoop, it would help if I didn't put my hand in front of it. There we go. So that's Hickory. Once we can take photos, these colors are not being sold individually until July. So for the month of June, they are only being sold as a full set, as the Pride set. And then in the month of July, we'll release them as individual colors. So this is Charcoal. And this is a rich black color. It really is. There we go. Charcoal. This is Tickled Pink. I like this color a lot. It's really soft and pretty. See, it was a mistake to do the floss colors at night, wasn't it? Well, don't worry. You'll see them again, I promise. Not only that, there we go. Tickled Pink. Sunflower. Love that one. This one's so fun. I named this one. Pumpkin Up the Jam. It is literally the most perfect pumpkin orange. Jack-o'-lantern orange. So Pumpkin Up the Jam. And then we have Winterscape. This is pretty. This is like Elsa from Frozen. Winterscape. Yeah, love that blue. And Planetarium. Oh, this one, I tell you. I could see doing an entire long dog in this color. It's this most beautiful, rich, purpley blue. It is gorgeous. So that's Planetarium. And last but not least, of our rainbow. And I didn't do the colors in order, but there you go. Cheeky. We named this one as well. And now this is showing up as more orange in the orange red. And it's not an orange red. This color actually, so Cheeky, I'm planning on, I've been wanting to stitch Deanna, Darling Whimsy and Designs. I've been wanting to stitch that really sweet, tiny little sampler that she has charted. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. It's the one that has the, it's so charming. It has the mistake where the original stitcher was stitching, she was supposed to do an S, but she did a T, so she corrected it just by putting the S right over top of it. It is so, it's such a sweet chart. Darling Whimsy and Designs. Go check out her Etsy shop and you'll see the chart that I mean. I'll try to put a link in if I remember. It's already 9:30 p.m. By the time I get this video edited and up, it's going to be super late. So if I forget to put anything in that you're still wondering about, that you have trouble finding on your own, just leave me a question below and I'll make sure I get to it tomorrow. Apologies for the lateness of this. Hopefully I get everything right. Hopefully I haven't forgotten too much. So Cheeky, I am going to use Cheeky and I'm going to start a red sampler, but I'm going to start a tiny red sampler so that I know that I'll actually, I want to finish it. So Cheeky, I named that one too. Well, I say Evertote at the shop, we kind of, if a floss doesn't have a name and Carrie and her team haven't named it, then we'll kind of throw around some names, and if something sticks and Carrie likes it, then that's what we name it. So Cheeky might have been Sarah or Hannah may have named that one. I can't remember, but Hannah's. If you see the oversized wedge totes that I was just telling you about, my sister and my sister-in-law Kathy, the bags that she made, Hannah's the one who listed them all, and she's the one who came up with all of those really clever, puns on all of those bags. So that was quite fun. So that is the Pride set. Now, what you need to know about the Pride set is that there is a very special freebie chart that has been designed by Julie of Silver Stitches that is free for anyone who purchases a Pride pack. If you would like to send Julie a message, she will send the chart to you. It is a Love is Love chart, and the meaning behind how she designed it was really quite special, and so I encourage you to check her out. You can find her on Instagram. I will leave a link in the drop down box below to Julie Silver Stitches, and that's SYLVER Stitches. She is a fellow Canadian living here in Ontario. So thank you again, Julie. Your thoughtfulness and the care that you put into your thinking behind how you charted the Love is Love is really, it was really quite special. So thank you. Okay, one last thing to talk about, but my battery is about to die, and I know I'm going to need more than 2 minutes to tell you about it. It's the Modern Folk Embroidery Mystery September Sampler, and there's a few details that I really need to get into this video. So let me see if I can find another battery, and I'll be right back. Okay, I found one. I'm back. Okay, so the Mystery September Sampler Stitch Along. You have probably heard about it already from Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery. I know I've been getting lots of questions about it in my email, and I've answered everybody who's emailed me about it. So what that usually means is that there's probably like 100 other people who are wondering the same thing. So it was time that I answered a few of these questions about some of the mystery, because we don't want to answer all of the questions about the mystery because, well, that might spoil the surprise. So Jacob has a sampler for us, and what can I tell you about it? Well, what can I tell you about it? I can read you what I've got, the description on the listing. The chart. The chart is an American sampler with some Quaker history from 1808. It will include cross stitch, which is the majority of the chart, some over one stitching, a few eyelets, and some queen or rococo stitch. And I added the following because that first part was from Jacob, but I added the following. Never fear, if you don't know how to do a stitch, we can learn together. Or there will be suggestions for replacement stitches. So Jacob will give us an idea of, you know, if you don't want to do this particular stitch here, why don't you try this stitch? Now, this next statement is an important little detail about the chart. The finished design will be 150 stitches high by 115 stitches wide. So if you know anything about stitch counts, you will have sussed out already that that is quite small. It is not a big sampler, it is quite a small sampler. And so many of the questions that I have been getting have been, I missed out on the 32 count, I don't want 28 count, I stitch on higher count fabrics, I want to do a 36 or a 40 count fabric. Will you be selling floss? And the answer to that question is yes, I will have. I'm going to wait until September 1st when the kit is, when we start. There will be extra floss then when the pattern is revealed on September 1st. But part of the reason for the kit is the 28 count. The original design was stitched on a 28 count fabric, which will give you what I worked it out. I think it works out to something like an 8 by 10 finished design. If you do it on a 36 count or 40 count, the 36 count, it ends up being 5 by 7. The finished design will be only 5 by 7. So it's very, very small. So that's why we only went with a 28 and a 32. The other issue is at the moment, it is very, very difficult to source anything. Like fabric is really difficult to get, and if you are lucky enough to be able to order some, it's usually at least 6 to 8 weeks to get to you. I'm not the one ordering the fabric, that is Carrie, that's Leo&Roxy, they're ordering fabric, but I've been discussing all of these with them all along, so I understand these issues and these problems because it's me responsible for selling it, so I need to know these things too. So I underestimated the amount of 32 count, knowing that our stock on that was going to be small. Our stock on the 28 count is sufficient that we have a lot more of that to offer, and that's what I'm going to stitch mine on. Ellen Reed of Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour and also the Crash Test Dummies. I always have to name drop that, Ellen. You know I have to do that because you're my, my most famous rock star Canadian friend. So I'm going to name drop that you're doing the model stitching, of course. Ellen is going to do the model stitching also on the 28 count version. So that's the version you're going to see. And so I've had people ask, I want to stitch this on a higher count, and because I don't want to say too much because it is supposed to be a surprise. It's supposed to be a sampler surprise. But it is small, and I love that, the fact that it's small, and it's kind of this thing that lots of people are going to be doing together. I think we could finish it in the month of September. We could have a sampler September finish, start and finish, SAF, in the month of September. You will also notice that the price of the sampler kit is quite high for what would probably be a fairly, not a huge piece of fabric for this particular design. I have said in the listing that there are going to be some special extras in the package. I can guarantee you that you will be getting your money's worth. And I really don't want to tell you what's in the package because I really would love for it to be a surprise, that you open it up and it's like a present for yourself. So it's a surprise. And if you love Jacob's designs, if you trust me that you tend to like the things that I show you and share with you here, I think that you will love this kit. I'm really excited about it. I know Jacob and Carrie are also both very excited about it. Carrie is the dyer of the pair, Carrie and Jolynn, are the dyers of Leo&Roxy Yarn Co. And Carrie has become the dyer of the floss and the fabric, more the cross stitch side of things. She still does dye yarn, of course, as well. But Carrie is the one of Carrie and Jolynn who is dyeing. So when I say Carrie's on board, that's who I'm talking about. And there have been some pretty wonderful photographs and text messages going back and forth as we have been preparing this collection, because it is a lot of work. There are a lot of moving parts. There are a lot of things going into this collection that, you know, I'm hoping to curate a set for you that will be something really, really fun and you know, that we can all enjoy. It's going to be my first time participating in Sampler September, so I'm kind of excited too. And I think the design is small enough that I don't know if I'll be able to finish it in September. I know those of you who stitch a lot more than I do will definitely be able to finish it in September, no problem. But I'm really excited about it. So the way that it's being sold, the 32 count is sold out, I'm afraid to say. I do have some 28 count sets left, because we did start out with a high number of 28 count kits. So there is still quite a few of those. I am offering it as an option with the chart, with a physical copy of the chart, and also without a physical copy of the chart. If you prefer to work off of a PDF for stitching, then you would purchase the version that doesn't have the chart, and then on September 1st you'll be able to buy the PDF of Jacob's chart from his website, modernfolkembroidery.com. I will only have the physical copies. I will not be selling the PDF versions of Jacob's chart. Yeah, so I'm going to leave the ordering open because we have 28 count fabric. Carrie is currently dyeing it for this particular kit, and my goal is to be shipping these out the first week of August. So they should be arriving in your mailboxes. If you've ordered them, you should be arriving them all the way throughout the month of August. I would love to have everyone have them by September 1st. If you've placed an order and you're overseas, I'm really going to be trying to get those orders out the door first, because I know they will take the longest to get to where they need to go. I know at the moment, things that I am shipping out to the United States are actually getting there quite quickly, more quickly than orders within Canada. Things are moving to the States quite well at the moment. I have a third-party shipper that I use to take my things. I am Canadian, so the prices that you see on the website are in Canadian dollars. I always forget to mention that, and I'll you know, I'm sure there are a few gasps out there from non-Canadians who see the prices and say, what? If you wish to see the currency in your own, if you wish to see the prices in your own currency, you can switch, you can toggle the button to see the prices converted. Now, you should be aware that if you wish to pay in your own currency, you will be paying the currency conversion fee to Shopify, which is the host of my site, which means that your credit card doesn't charge you the fee. Shopify charges you the fee. I don't know what the difference in rates are, so if you're overly concerned, I don't get that extra money. That conversion fee does not go to me, it goes to Shopify. If you pay in Canadian dollars, there is still a conversion fee that will be paid through your credit card, so on and so forth. Because I am Canadian, I charge in Canadian funds. But there is that option if you prefer to see the money in your own currency. You can do that. You can choose to pay in your own currency as well. What else can I tell you? It's going to be really fun. It's going to be really fun. I saw a sample of the fabric today. Carrie has finally nailed down the color of the fabric to dye that we're going to be stitching on. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. It also will come with 8 skeins of floss. All of the floss needed to stitch the entire design. I can tell you that. I won't tell you what colors they are, but I can tell you that. Jacob has recharted the design. Of course, the colors of the original that he has reproduced were quite faded. And if you've watched his video, you will have already heard him explain this, that the original colors of this girl's sampler have become quite muted and faded, but that he was able to sort of recreate a more brighter palette based on, you know, what he could see, clues that he could see of the original. And so the palette that you will be receiving are not sort of the really faded, muted colors of the sampler that he was recharting. So I think I've answered all of the questions. If I've forgotten anything, I will be trying to pop on a quick video on Friday, again, to celebrate the start of Rule of Life. Leave me a question below. Leave me a question in the comments, and I'll get to them tomorrow and the next day. Or you can email me anytime, caroline@evertote.ca or .com. Both will get to me. And that's it. It is now 9:45 p.m. Oh my goodness. It's been great to get back to to filming again. I really, you know, I miss that connection. I miss that connection of the comments, reading the comments. And I know I don't often respond to the comments. I read every single one. I try to answer everybody's questions. I know I miss some. It's tricky when messages come through Instagram and Facebook and all of that. It's very easy that things get missed. And if I have missed a question or something that you've asked and I've missed it, I do apologize for that. I don't like that. I don't like to miss stuff like that. It does happen. It's kind of unavoidable when there's as much messaging going on as there is in so many different places. It's easy to miss, but I do apologize. If it is something that you're really hoping to find out, please try me again. Please email me again. And if you have emailed me and I've missed it, I apologize. I really try my best. I try to answer everything. Yeah, caroline@evertote.com. I think that's it. This video is probably going to be pretty long, but boy, it feels really nice to be back. It feels good to be back. It's funny, you know, you develop, I can't remember who I was trying to explain it to, that sort of feeling of having a conversation because you're talking to yourself, but I know that I'm talking to you. Oh, you know what? I have forgotten something very important. I'm going to actually, I was planning on doing a little video about this anyways, but I forgot to put it on my list to mention that I was going to do an extra little video about this. I'm going to be running some auctions on Instagram starting this Thursday. So today is Monday. I will probably put out a very short video on Wednesday telling more just specifically about the auction, because I'm sure lots of people are going to miss me talking about this because I've been yammering on for so long. Lots of people will have turned the video off already, and I want to make sure that people know about this. I'm going to be raising money through Instagram auctions for the Indian Residential School Survivors Society. And yeah, so Thursday, there's going to be a couple of very special items up for auction, including Michelle Bendy entire collection of Weeks Dye Works floss. So I will have more information on that. Well, there's no more information than that. That's my information on it. It's going to be listed on Thursday. I'll have information on Wednesday about how the auctions will run in case you've never participated in an Instagram auction before. I also have some very special floss packs that I have been saving up from a customer. I don't have her permission, I don't think, to tell you who she is. I don't know if she wished to remain anonymous, so just in case she did wish to remain anonymous, I won't name her. But I have a customer who has purchased a few of the sets. I have 3 sets of Leo&Roxy floss where this customer purchased a set for herself and she purchased a second set at the same time and asked me to hold them aside for a fundraiser, whatever fundraiser I chose, whatever charity I chose. This was amazing. She said, please keep them and use them well to raise some money for a good cause. And so this is what I have saved them for. I'm going to be auctioning them off. I have the original set of 5 Leo&Roxy blues. If you think back a few months back now, the original set of 5 purples. Remember, that's the one that had Vamp in it. There's a skein of Vamp in there. Can't get that anymore. That's why we have Vampish now, because Vamp flew away, never to return. There's a skein of Vamp in there. There is also a set of 10, the sampler pack from April. So those 3 packages of floss plus a bag from me from Evertote. I will make a bag. I haven't decided what size. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you want, I will make from the shop. That will be part of that auction item. So those 2 auction items are going to go up on Thursday. They are going to be bid what you want items. You can bid what you want. There will be a minimum bid for the floss, the Weeks Dye Work floss. It is a huge library collection of every skein of Weeks Dye Work floss. And none of the money goes to me. The way that it works is the winning bidder donates directly to the charity and then sends the receipt of their donation to the person who is sending the item. So if you are the winning bidder on the Weeks Dye Work floss, you will email a copy of your receipt to Michelle Bendy and she will be mailing the floss to you. If you're the winner of the items that I will be sending, then you will email the copy of that to me and I will mail you your winning items once I have proof of your donation. So I don't see any of that money. 100% of that money is donated directly to the charity. So yeah, I'll have a little bit more information on Wednesday how the bidding kind of works on there and sort of what to watch out for. We'll leave the auctions open for a few days. I hope to run a few. I hope to do one this week, one next week, and one the week after. So maybe 3 weeks of auctions. We'll see. We'll see what else we can put together. I'd love to raise some money. More on Wednesday. More on Wednesday for that, and then more on Friday to start our stitch along. And that really is it now, I think. I think I'm gonna have to go and make myself a cup of coffee while I edit this video because otherwise I'm not gonna get it up until Tuesday night. What fun is that? So I will say goodnight. I will see you soon. I'll see you on Wednesday with a short update video for the Instagram auctions. I'll see you then. Until then, please take care of yourselves. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. And I hope that you have some crafting to enjoy. I'll see you soon. Happy stitching, everybody. Take care.